morning, we bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
And we give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Boom Gonzalez. And you can watch the game live and some past episodes on demand on the Pilipinas Live app for just 99 pesos a month. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store.
Well, the PBA On Tour has officially ended, but its impact on, well, everything in general, on the league and its players will be felt for the years to come. Now, joining us tonight to talk about his experience during the summer tournament is Terafirma G big man, now a podcaster. Wow, the big chill, Isaac Go. Welcome back to the studio, brother. How
Thank you.
doing?
I felt that extra gusto in your...
Yeah.
Welcome back, because we're just happy to see you again here in the studio. It's been a minute, as
I
they
know,
would
right?
say.
It's the return of the comeback, and this for you in general was a comeback in many ways. First of all, how did it feel to actually get a quote-unquote conference in the bag already, especially knowing that this is your return from a lengthy injury?
There are certain aspects that you can try to get back from your injury, whether practices, skills, but a lot of times it's still, for the most part, under your control. Like in a practice situation, your coaches are there to control. Your teammates are aware that you're hurt or you're coming back, so they take it a little bit. They watch out. But when you get into a live situation where you have nothing in control, there are 12, 13 other guys on the floor, you're out of your control, that you just got to play through it. You just got to find a way to stay safe, but at the same time trying to be productive.
Almost 10 points, almost 7 rebounds in your comeback. Where are you now, physically and mentally, at this stage, after the PBA On Tour is done?
I think it was seen that if I play around 20 minutes, it's really, really good. It's now having the ability to stretch that a little bit more, where to reach 26, 30, and you saw some of my teams were playing 40 minutes a game like it was nothing. So I guess that's where the production has to improve. And I also, like, my three-point shooting, I was hot to start the season, then it dropped. I think I finished like below 30%.
Yeah, I saw that.
For the conference. So I think those are the two things that I have to work on. And lastly is my post-game, because that was something the team wanted to integrate this preseason, and it was very evident that I was rusty, so that's something I also have to work on.
Yeah, we're now looking at the Isaac Go highlight package right now, and I am a big fan of it. Obviously, you had that 15-point game against TNT, the 10-point game against Magnolia in your last game. You take a look at, you mentioned your points to improve on and all of that, but then do you feel that 100%, Boom mentioned mentally being there, do you feel that you're already fully back to what you were before?
I think mentally wise that there's no more fear, where probably if you watch my highlights, I have some place there where I jump where I'm not supposed to be jumping, kahit ako nagulat ako. I think the best one was against Rain or Shine, where I go for a tip and my legs collapse underneath me because they were tired, but in my mind, like, why do you go for it? You don't have to go for it. So stuff like that, I think mentally that there's not a lot of fear anymore. Maybe there's a little bit laterally. But aside from that, physically, that's where I think it's more important now. There's still holes that I need to patch up. But mentally, I'm just having fun out there, and it's good to be back.
Okay, that's the individual part of it. Let's talk about the team, Terafirma, and what kind of impact the PBA On Tour has made on the team, and what have you benefited from it as a team?
I think for the one part is, in a way, there's no pressure, because we always come into the season where it's pressure. We have to wins and losses, track, playoffs, bonuses, and all other stuff. But when you go to the preseason where just go out and play, have fun. And I think there was that joy in us na a little bit looser, a little bit more, okay, we can maybe experiment a little bit more. We can try the stuff we see in practice. Then also is that, I think may pagkamalas rin. We weren't really healthy throughout the year, where if you watch our games, me, Eric, and Aldrich, there's always one of us missing for some reason. But parang yun na, because one guy's out, all of a sudden another guy's given bigger opportunity to step up, to show what they have, and parang yun na, to finally get their confidence back.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned experimenting, and some teams did experiment with certain players here because of the fact that, you know, they wanted to try out guys that they haven't necessarily signed yet, or people that they want to sign in the future. You have a couple of great storylines here during PBA On Tour, and I want to start out first with the NLEX Road Warriors. Dom Fajardo, who is an NLEX security officer, not necessarily guard, pero he worked in the security department of NLEX, and that is an incredible story, seeing him really perform in the PBA.
Because of course, is a lot of kids around the Philippines, if you ask them, what's your dream? It's to make it to the PBA. And of course, that when you see someone to finally be able to step on the court, parang yun yung joy niya. That's why he goes out, he plays extremely hard. And there are games where he played really well and was one of NLEX's best players. So parang, yun na, I think he's an inspiration to a lot of players na if he made, a lot of guys can make it too.
How far can he take that? In your opinion?
I think he
What's
can,
the realistic scenario for him?
because again, the PBA, there's a lot of players competing, but again, he's maybe one injury away from cracking the roster. He could be
yeah, right.
maybe contract disputes. A lot of things.
Not
can
that we wish
Yeah,
that.
Not that we wish it, but there's
yeah.
a lot of things that can go his way for him to maintain his roster in the team.
Yeah, now speaking of someone who's in the roster of a team but not necessarily as a player, itong si Major Luib of the Converge Fiber Xers, assistant coach. 7 years after he went undrafted, finally getting an opportunity to put on a PBA jersey. How good must have that felt?
I think there's a difference between him and Dom, because I think the dream was never really died because working in NLEX, and wow, I think for McJord, part of him accepted the fact that, okay, I'm not gonna play anymore, became a coach, and joined the staff of Coach Alden Ayo. Then all of a sudden, Coach Alden says, you're gonna suit up the next game. So I think yun na, iba, you see now that guys who always had the dream and never died, like, to get a chance. At the same time, for those who may have closed that door, you never know when the door will open once again.
But the theme ongoing here, obviously, and even in our other conversations with our
Yeah.
other guests, Paolo, about the PBA on Tour is really opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it's all about. Opportunities also for existing players to shine or shine again.
Yeah.
And you have a couple of choices there, Isaac.
There's a lot of guys, because there's guys who came from direct hire from college, like Fran Yu. There are guys from the 3x3 program, Jadi Rangel, my teammate Chuck Alanes and Jeremiah Taladua. And there's guys like Diego who, in their rotation, is a little bit buried. There's guys...
Sino si Diego?
Diego
gets so much airtime.
Yeah.
Of course, even he's not
Every
here.
week.
But you see that in his rotation, you have Aaron Black, Chris
Right.
Banquero,
That's true.
Chris
Right.
Newsome, and now, because those guys are absent, all of a sudden he's given the keys to the offense, allowed to play a little bit more, and parang yun na, there's that confidence, there's that freedom, there's that, parang you're not looking over your shoulder, you're just going full steam ahead.
Just so you know, so that wasn't part of the conversation. It was actually supposed to be Von Pesumal and Carl Brian Cruz.
But it's
that we're supposed to talk about.
underscoring the point that there were many.
There are
Yes,
many,
right?
100%.
many.
But
then,
yes, talk about Von
Yeah.
and
And I think those are two where I know Von has always been a guy who's ready to play, always healthy. But again, if you look at that Ginebra rotation, that is stacked.
Yep.
All of a sudden, here's 40 minutes. And we know Von as a catch and shoot guy. And all of a sudden, taking guys off the dribble. He's talking some smack to me also in the game.
Really?
Yeah, he
Oh.
does. But you just see that he's allowed to play a little bit more free. And a guy like Carl Brian Cruz, who we've seen what happened. He was healthy in Alaska, but he got hurt. Never really found his groove. It took a while for him to get healthy. Then all of a sudden, shooting. He shot 40% for 3, average 15 and 5. All of a sudden, parang yun eh. It just gives so much confidence to a guy na parang baka pababa na siya noon na, am I gonna crack a rotation spot? Am I gonna get missed? All of a sudden, I'm the main gun. I'm taking 8 threes a game and I'm not looking back.
Absolutely. Isaac, we're not letting you go. In fact, you're going to stay here for the entire show.
it's the Isaac Go Show.
Sanay na siya
That's
sa
what
mga
it is.
podcast eh. Long form na lahat.
So he's staying with us. I hope you do too, because after the break, we'll take a look at Gilas' final preparations for the FIBA World Cup. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back to the game. Gilas Pilipinas is gearing up for its final pocket tournament as they prepare for the biggest basketball tournament in the globe, which is, as you know, the FIBA World Cup. Now, still with us this time to discuss Gilas' participation in the China International Hoops Festival is basketball analyst and Gilas alumni Isaac Go. We begin our discussion, I suppose, before we talk about the China stint. Isaac, since we haven't had you here in a while, can you tell us what are your impressions of the preparations from the Europe stint first? And what have you seen? What were your major takeaways from that Europe participation?
I think number one is finally getting Junmar healthy, and that's the message where I've talked to Coach Tim and Coach Shot is that the number one guy that's been impressive is Junmar Fajardo because he's coming from the injury, and I think a lot of people are going to be shocked with what he's going to do. I think people forget the six-time PBA MVP and how good he is, but to finally see him on the floor, see him healthy, and the coaches are extremely impressed with what he's able to do.
So that's your biggest takeaway from the Europe.
It's gonna be Jun. It's gonna be Jun.
The big takeaway.
Oh my goodness. And of course, I just love the fact that we know how he got that information. It's because he's a podcast host now and has them both on his show.
He's an insider.
Absolutely. So you take a look at this next phase of preparation. Obviously, a 14-man lineup going there. Junmar Fajardo being one of the guys that we hope really shows out in this tournament. We're playing a team from Africa. We're playing a team from Iran as well. You take a look at what that could mean culturally, because playing different cultures do matter. Why is playing against African competition important for Gilas?
I think that's where you see the difference in style of play. Number one, the Africans, they're definitely going to be tall, athletic, very up and down. Then when you play, this probably goes the same with the South Americans who are very energetic, very emotional when they play, in a good way where they rally their emotions to play better. And again, once you experience that, because it's not saying they play the same, but you can there's like commonalities between African teams, South American teams, European teams, and just having a taste of that, you know, you kind of now, you're not going to be, kumbaga, bulaga na, oh, this is how an African team plays. No, it's going to be like, oh, they kind of play like the Senegal team we're going to play, so that's going to be important.
Which is how, in your experience and in your, whether it's playing with Gilas or just viewing and all of that, what are the things that you look out for when you're playing against African teams or Senegal team like Senegal? Rather?
I remember when I was younger, I got sent to the States for this camp, and there was a team from Africa, and I remember you could bring 12 guys in that roster. 10 of their guys were 6'9" and above. They had one 6'4" guy and then one 6-foot guy. So,
but a lot of them also, correct me if I'm wrong, Isaac, a lot of them were also converted basketball players,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So what's the skill set there that we look out for?
Number one is they can run, and they're absolutely athletic. And their footwork may not be polished, but they have some level of footwork, some nimbleness to them that they're able to glide up and down the floor. They're able to get to the rim, and they're active. Because in football, when you get, I think Pao can speak for experience, when you get close, you get really, it's not about who bumps who first. It's going to be, I'm going to move my feet first. I'm going to try to get away from contact. So those African teams are going to be tough. And especially now, you never know what, some of these guys have played in the NBA, some of these guys come from Europe. So
Yeah.
you're going to have guys now bring those knowledge with the athletic gifts of these African guys.
Yeah, so this Gilas team has actually now, in the past few months, garnered experience playing against European competition. Now will garner experience playing against African competition. And of course, we've already have experience playing Asian nations in the past. You take a look at the players we have here, though. One of the players that hasn't had a lot of experience is AJ Edu, 6'10" big man, always going to be a wild card. In your conversations with the coaches, has there been any news about AJ Edu and what his role is in this particular lineup?
I think their coaches are considering lining him up. And again, in Lithuania, Estonia was a little bit hurt in that situation where the goal was getting him healthy in terms of getting rehab with Coach Dex. And there's a news that against Magnolia, he played really well. So there's that consideration now that, hey, he could be our maybe third, fourth big. And for this tournament, he is going to be their third big. So you're not trial by fire. Your first seniors gig stint will be towards the build of the World Cup. So what better way to show what you got?
All right, you've had your conversations, obviously, with Coach Chot. You've seen them train. What are your concerns? If there are any concerns with the team going forward?
I think number one is health, and that's the situation everywhere. We're talking about Scotty Thompson, still unsure, still in consideration. Where yes, you had AJ injured, and of course you have these knick-knacking injuries throughout the course of a progress. And I think the other thing is, Jordan Carson coming late, but yun na, if you look at this China stint, you want, as the coach said, you want Jordan there, but at the same time, it gives the locals a chance to show what they've got. Now, parang, okay, we don't have this gonna be heavy usage guy because we've seen in the stat sheets in Europe where there were games where Brownlee was taking charge and he was carrying a lot of the offensive load. So now having him out, not there, having JC not there, how are these locals now gonna respond? How are they gonna run the system to find their shot? Who's gonna take charge? Who's gonna emerge as the guy for them? So a lot of opportunities up for grabs for these guys.
You take a look at the fact that, okay, so you have Jordan Clarkson, Justin Brownlee, a naturalized player slot that has always dominated. Is there anything that we can glean from this as if looking at Coach Charlton thinking, this is how we play when we don't have a Clarkson or a Brownlee on the floor?
Definitely. Number one will be they have to lock up defensively because now they'll know that we're not likely to outscore.
Right.
So we're going to have to lock down defensively and we're going to have to be more patient in hunting good shots because we now don't have a guy we give the ball to clear out of the way. Or they'll be more systematic in hunting mismatches, personalities that they can attack. So they can't just now go in there and bara. They're going to have to be smarter about it. They're going to approach it very technically and tactically to the point that you'll be surprised that they play like the San Antonio Spurs.
Ooh, okay.
Well,
I don't know about that, but yes, okay, sure. But we're not done with Isaac Go and his podcast. I mean, the game, because after the break, we'll talk about some of the most anticipated players for the FIBA World Cup 2023. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back to The Game. Now, we've heard all about China International Hoops. Now, let's dive into the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. Now, still with us to give us a rundown of his most anticipated players for the World Cup is Terra Firma Jeep's own Isaac Go. Podcaster, big chill, so much. Never letting that go. In terms of players we're excited for here, what was your criteria of picking your favorite highlight players?
I think number one is they have to play in Manila first of all for the first window for the first leg.
Yeah, all right.
Of course. And I think for me it's just guys that I think that I would personally enjoy watching.
Kala ko sabihin mo, big men.
No. I only picked one. I only picked one.
Yeah, because remember, that's a lot of our conversations center on that. But let's start with one of them.
I'll start with the big man. This year.
Big man. And,
And
a shooting big man, a scoring big man. Who's that big man?
It's Karl Anthony Towns, who recently confirmed his commitment to the national team. And
Of Dominican Republic.
yes. And definitely parang, you always hear him in Minnesota that he's not the guy, and all those talks about him that parang yun na eh, parang he's only made the first round of the playoffs. But now he has a chance to prove the world wrong in international stage where
World stage, right.
and the ball's gonna be in his hands. In Minnesota, he has to kind of share. I gotta give it to Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert. I have to share it. In this team, it's gonna be him. It's gonna be all him. It's gonna be the Karl Anthony Towns show. Maybe Al Horford will help him out. Some of the other guys will help out. But if Dominican Republic wants to move into the next rounds, Karl Anthony Towns will have to have a big tournament.
Were you a fan of him? I know you want to see him here, but were you a fan of him prior to this whole stint here in Manila?
I think I've been because I got the guys like Nikola Jokic to watch Tim Duncan. So parang nasapawan sa pecking order. But again, you can always learn from someone. And Karl Anthony Towns, as you said, is one of the better three-point shooting bigs in the NBA.
Yeah, one of the best offensive big men in the NBA for sure. But another player that you want to talk about is another group mate of the Philippines. Actually, he's from Italy, Nico Mannion. Initially drafted by Golden State. Now, why him in particular?
The reason why I picked him is number one is I wanted to see, of course, he left the NBA, left Golden State after his contract expired, wanted to get paid in Europe. But then all of a sudden, he got sick. There was a picture where he lost so much weight. And I just want to see him back on the court, man, and want to see him in person because if we won one of our games in the OQT before, we would have a chance to cross over against him also. So parang yun, if I can't play against him, might as well I get to watch him live.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has heritage in the NBA. He did participate in the Summer League, the NBA Summer League. Did you get to see him play during the Summer League?
Not really. I didn't get to watch him much. That's why and again, Summer League is controlled. Because yun na, they're finding that balance between playing to show what they have and playing within the system because again they want a chance back to the NBA. Unlike here, no, all pressure is to win. All pressure is talagang okay. I have to ball out. I have to show the world what I got, and I have to help Italy move on.
You have a very biased pick up next, of course. That is our very own Jordan Clarkson, Utah Jazz's own Jordan Clarkson.
I love the squeeze-in part there.
I chose him because I knew you were gonna be on
Wait,
the
you didn't choose him because he's playing for the Philippines? I'm sure you did.
You were in consideration. as
Okay,
well.
there you go. There you go.
Again, I never got the chance to watch Jordan Clarkson live yet in person, and of course, iba na eh. He's played in the windows. He's played in some of the tournaments, but this is it. This is the big tournament. So kumbaga, we're gonna see the best version of Jordan Clarkson in this tournament.
Do you think he will play any different from the last time that you saw him? Not live, but when you saw him here.
I think
Because he has evolved also. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but he has evolved also in his last year. I think his best year before injuries, right?
And I think that first window probably there was still that parang hiya or familiarity issue where okay, do the locals like okay move out of the way, like do the other guys give out the way, give it to Jordan, or will Jordan hit the guys? So parang there's still that I think weird familiarity. Unlike this time around,
Yeah, he knows them.
He knows them already, and he's gonna come in. It's not anymore. Okay, you are good. It's gonna what's up, bro? What's up, bro? It's gonna be now reinvigorated more of familiarity rather than he's trying to get to know them.
Yeah, just to remind everyone that Jordan Clarkson actually averaged a career high in assists
Exactly,
last
yeah.
time around,
Really?
and he's now a point guard for the Jazz.
Yes, best usage
So-
rate, best efficiency.
I mean, I'm just saying, I know all these for a fact. So let's see how it translates to Gilas Pilipinas. But Isaac, really appreciate you being here. Feel free to stay even after we leave, because I know you're not used to leaving early. All right.
Stick around. Hey, thank you very much, Isaac. Good to see you, and congratulations on your comeback.
Thank
on
you
a
guys.
personal
Thank you.
note.
Thank you.
And on that note, don't miss out on the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 with Signal Pay-Per-View. And experience world-class basketball action at home with Signal's FIBA World Cup pay-per-view offer for only 650 pesos. You can watch all games from start to finish, no commercials, and in high definition. Plus, get access to exclusive FIBA shows. Visit signal.tv for more details. And the FIBA World Cup pay-per-view is also available to satellite subscribers. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, and we're live for just 99 pesos a month on the Pilipinas Live app. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store. I'm Paulo De Rosario, and this has been The Game.